How you doing? I'm Aiden Milligan, a Scottish artist originally from a small town called Maybole in South Ayrshire. I'm currently working from a studio in Edinburgh, where I've been working since graduating from Grace School of Art a few years ago, but I've also held a studio in Glasgow as well. But it's Edinburgh right now. I find working in the city has helped my work because it brings a sort of a sense of nostalgia for the kind of place that I'm talking about within my paintings. Because I don't have things like the countryside and hills and woods and things like that around me right now, and life's a lot more fast-paced in the city. So within my work I'm kind of thinking back to simpler times, thinking back to easier times, and it kind of it fits into the style of painting that I like to make. I paint in a style is something like naive, of course with the knowledge of what I learned at art school. It fits the kind of stories I want to tell. There's a lot of thinking back to childhood, there's a lot of nostalgia, there's a lot of thinking back to simpler times when the world seemed a bit, a little bit more simple. And there's a kind of tension I like to try and strike in my work. Tension between what I think's funny, so there's an element of humour meeting a sense of something a bit more sinister. There's definitely some undercurrents there that I try and tease out. So it makes sense to me to paint in this simple, naive, childlike style, because it's kind of like looking at the world through a child's eye. People have said my work is kind of like Visit Scotland with a dark twist. So the term Visit Scotland, it's like a slogan for tourism. So you'll see it castles and country parks and things like that. So it's kind of like Visit Scotland, but there's some dark stuff going on. And I've also heard people say that my work is kind of like, it kind of represents the universal experience of modern life, things that we all go through. Said I'm from a small town in the country, very working class, and small town gossip is really what drives a lot of stories in my work. So there's a thing about small towns that there's this idea that everything's nice, everything's kind of idyllic, and everyone's happy and enjoying the countryside and all that. But yeah, there's something about small towns that gossip is just a thing. People start talking. There's a lot of characters that I like to bring into my work. People I know of, and also myself. Like in this show, there's a painting called Train Surfing, and that's something that we kind of used to do when we were growing up, things like that. I'm basically just telling stories of life from my perspective and how I see the world, how I like to see the world. I like to view the world through that lens. I like to find humour in things that are not so funny, things that might be a bit dark. The title for the show, Back to the Shire, is quite self-explanatory. So when I say the Shire, it's kind of like a local term for, like Ayrshire, South Ayrshire. It's the kind of county that I come from. And it's kind of, when you say the Shire, you're talking about in the country, you're talking about small towns, you're talking about driving through back roads and hills and getting lost. So I'm going back to the Shire in my work, just the same way as I still do from time to time. And I just want to get across how it might feel coming to my neck of the woods. And it's great. Ayrshire has the finest people, I think, and best people you'll ever meet. I'm just telling stories from that perspective and doing some justice for my people. Scotland's such a small country, and there's about 100 different accents, and we just got up the road to Glasgow, the closest city, and I'm just talking about where I come from in South Ayrshire, and particularly Maybole. And yeah,